and gentlemen, welcome back to our beloved YPFL Talk podcast on a Tuesday.
Yeah, as always on a Tuesday. I think we're in our fifth episode now, so I guess we can start to call it a regular thing.
Yeah, I guess so. I think, we are a thing now.
Yeah,
this is like sure. We haven't had the talk yet, but I think that's it. Okay, all right. So as we have done our relationship talk already now, my name is Leonard König. I'm as always here with Sebastian Lemke.
Very nice to be here with you, as always.
Yeah, as always. And that was quite a weekend, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, for us especially, right? But for a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players in Europe, I would say.
Yeah, this weekend was killing me.
Such a huge event. Yeah, we were talking straight for the whole Saturday, and all the players that went to the biggest European regional ever, the German Open #2 in Cologne. They only had to think the whole day and not talk the whole day, so that as an advantage against us. But still, we both managed to went through the whole day, and 622 players. Holy macaroni! We broke the record by I think about 200 players or something for the biggest regional.
The biggest regional was 355 before.
Yeah, wow.
And now this time it was 622. And after round 2, it was even 624.
Oof. That's insane. Cracking that number by such a big margin seems incredible, right? But
yeah, it did provide quite the regional points, you gotta say.
Yeah. With every single player that was added onto the number, for the world point grinders, it was like, shit, now I really have to go there. There's no way back. Everybody has to go there for real. So everybody in competition for the world point rise had to go there. Yeah, as we said, we were streaming for the whole event. We had 9 rounds of Swiss, even though our quote-unquote final did not really happen because Adrian Dozen in the final would have played against Max Frivel and their teammates, and Max was really nice and being a gentleman in letting Adrian win because he's in the hunt for that top 8 spot for the world's points.
Yeah, obviously. What an Ehrenmann. You gotta say, what an Ehrenmann.
Definitely. Super Ehrenmann move from him. I saw some people arguing whether that should be allowed. Maybe we can dive into that a little bit. Because obviously in Yu-Gi-Oh, intentional draws are not allowed. They are forbidden. In difference to Magic, for example. In Magic, you can intentionally draw a match, and that's perfectly fine with the tournament. Yep. But in Yu-Gi-Oh, it isn't. And people were like, why is it allowed to just scoop or to admit defeat in a tournament round? It's kind of similar to intentionally drawing. So what's your take on that?
It's really not similar because by intentional drawing, both players most of the time ensure a top cut spot.
Yeah.
Both were X1 in a YCS, and the YCS was really small. Then, or let's say Euros. X2, you're safe top 64. X3, it's kind of a bubble-ish thing. So if both players intentionally draw, then one other player will be out of the top cut eventually who couldn't influence the game. And by just scooping, it's still the same outcome that one player will advance to this top cut. And this way, it was completely legal, as Max also didn't get bribed by Adrian. So I know for a fact that he didn't get anything for conceding this game.
Yeah.
So he didn't get of Adrian just for the points or something like that. That didn't happen. So yeah, that was a completely fine and sportsmanlike move.
Super sportsmanlike.
Yeah,
that was really, really cool. They're teammates, so that kind of makes sense, but still, very, very cool. Nice to see that kind of sportsmanship in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, indeed. They are on the same team, so that also makes it quite more likely to happen. I think I would have done the same for Adrian.
Yeah.
But I was really happy at the regionals that I played. I was really lucky when I saw Adrian that I didn't have to face him, even though we had the same score, because then I would have just given up. So yeah.
Yeah, was there anything other very important or noticeable about the event? Do you remember? I saw like, of course, Jonas Koschel again made top 8. I saw his deck profile already with his Salamangreat deck. Very, very nice. Good job from him again. Like the machine, basically.
Yeah, Jonas is insane.
Yeah.
There's not really much to add to that. This guy is just...
His list looked kind of interesting because he, for example, decided to cut Will out of the Salamangreat deck, which I thought is pretty surprising, actually. Because I saw other people stocking up on Will, going from like 1 to 2, but he went the other direction, actually cut it out completely out of the main deck, which was surprising to me.
I mean, I think Will is kind of like it's not necessary. It just helps. It's kind of a win more-ish card, and sometimes it prevents you from losing to Anchor Take on the first turn. Or in the grind game, even because like if you don't have a monster on, you have already used your normal summon, then your deck is basically trash.
That's right.
If you don't have Foxy.
Yeah. Surely true. Yeah, so that was very, very well done by him. And I would say we should talk about the other big event that was going on this weekend. Or like, can we even say big event? We were talking about that beforehand. We're hinting at YCS Guatemala, and that attracted 286 players in total.
Yeah, which is not too much, to be honest.
Not really, no. I mean, that's like not even half of the players that we had for the German Open in Cologne.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I think those places are quite hard to travel to.
South American YCSs, right?
Yeah, they are rather smaller all the time, but we have quite the winner again.
That is true indeed, yeah.
Fala Galera Paulo made it like for his 3rd major win in a row.
That is just insane. Like I don't think anybody has done that yet. I mean, it is
not that short amount of time, right?
Right. I mean, it is already an elite club to be in like 3 major event wins. Like not a lot of people have done that in total. But he did it in 3 weeks, which is just absolutely insane. Like, very. I have to put my head down for him. That's really, really huge. And also, he's a member of Team E-Man Games. I don't know. Did we even introduce him yet? Like, as you can see on the screen later in the podcast, we will be joined by E-Man's founder Erkin Aydin.
Yeah, I guess the original E-Man, right?
Yeah, the original E-Man. That's kind of cool to say, yeah. And he has obviously members in South America as well, and pretty successful ones too. And I also saw that like Jesse Cotton again made top cut with his Thunder Dragon Danger deck. So like some very well-known faces from the North American scene did very well in South America too.
Looking at the top cut, I've seen a deck breakdown from top 16.
Yeah.
Couldn't find one for top 32 actually. I think BA topped again, but then again it's a 284 players YCS, so I wouldn't say that BA is top tier again necessarily. So actually Thunder Dragon caught up to Salamangreat. They had 4 in the top 8, and Salamangreat as well. But we had 7 Sky Strikers, so Ray is just like pouncing ahead of the game right now. People just
that triangle seems to be tighter and tighter, and it's like not really a triangle anymore, right?
Yeah, Ray is just crazy good because like you don't have an auto lose matchup to Thunder Dragon.
Yeah, right. Ray seems to be on top right now.
Yeah, like having hand traps is also really crucial. The deck is so easily stopped right now, I think. But this is actually a combo deck I like, because if a combo deck is like kind of easily stoppable and then comes out with like a smaller board, which is still not that easy to break, like it's a different thing with, for example, Gokis. If you had hand traps versus Goki, your opponent ended up on basically Isolde pass.
Yeah.
Or the last thing you hand trap pass. And that sucked. So you instantly lost the game if your opponent had anything to play. And with this Thunder Dragon deck, it's like if you hand trap it, then it can still do something. So like if you have 2 hand traps, it might end up on 1 Colossus maybe. And this is something I like because it's not that easy to shut down, but it's also not as crazy if you can stop it for a bit. Because like sometimes Gookie could play around 2 or 3 hand traps even, and then still end up on a board of like extra link and rip all the last cards in hand you have.
Yeah, and I mean, if the hand of the Sky Striker player is really bad, 1 Colossus could actually be enough to actually stop him from playing. That's pretty.
Yeah, on my last regional, I played against Kai Samson Köster. And he passed on 1 Colossus after I hand trapped him, but I had 2 engages in hand and nothing else, so I lost.
That's sad. I mean, you want to see 2 engages so often, but not in this situation, like not at all.
But in game 3, I had 2 engages when I opened again, so that was fine.
That seems fine for sure.
Yeah, and then Seiya was good.
Yeah. And because like in the finals, it was a Sky Striker mirror match as well, so the dominance of Ray showed again, and the finals was like that. So I would say, because right now we said it's a triangle format, maybe not even anymore, because Sky Strikers are so good, it's kind of hard to figure out a deck of the week for the actual format. So we actually decided to go for like a back in the days deck of the week.
Yeah.
And that's because we actually played that format on the weekend. Us two at Magdeburg, we were together, and we played Machina Gadget versus Miracle Fusion Heroes.
Yeah, Gemini Miracle Beatdown.
Yeah, like the classic Yu-Gi-Oh! It was a 2011 format, and I think you got the deck list from YCS Anaheim Top Card, wasn't it like that?
Yeah, it was April.
Yeah, just like give us some more information on it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you know me, you probably know that I'm crazy about legacy decks, so to say. I don't know if you call it legacy, but I guess so. And I'm always trying to find new formats that I enjoy playing, or basically old formats that I enjoy playing. Yeah. So we might keep that up in the podcast every time nothing new happens, considering decks. So
and it's so much fun, like.
Yeah,
old decks traveling back in time. It's just very, very nice if you're bored from the actual format. I mean, it's not very boring, but we had the actual format for 9 rounds, so we really enjoyed playing a different format after that in the evening, I would say.
Yeah, that is true. Also, like this format, like new formats is a lot of decisions in one turn, and you can't just like chill out, have a beer, and then play that, because you will eventually screw up, or your opponent will as well. So that's not too cool. Like we had Gadgets versus Heroes. That was kind of easier to play. I mean, we both played terribly because we were distracted and exhausted, but it was still fun because you could still recover from misplays. And yeah, also Goat was fun with you, even though you drew like a bastard.
I had to. It was my pleasure. But Machina Gadget versus the hero deck. Actually, what was kind of funny was that skill drain was at 3 in this format, and it was like huge. Like every time you normal summon the gadget, and I was like, skill drain. You were like, okay, I think that's it.
Yeah, fuck.
That's about right. Now we're done. And also, like
you kind of lost because you activated emergency call, searched out Stratus, and then didn't have Gemini Spark or Hero Blast alive because you're a moron.
Yeah, but that's more because of I'm a moron. That's right.
Yeah.
That is actually true. Yeah, and also a very strong card in this 2011 format was Dimensional Prison. I really felt like that was really huge back then, because especially in that matchup, you were always being like Dimensional Prison on the Shining, or Dimensional Prison on the Machina Fortress, and that was really, really impactful, I would say.
Yeah, those hurt a lot. What I also really like is like the format was really diverse. If you look into the top card, we have like 8-ish different decks, and I for now have only 3 decks. I mean, Gadget and Heroes, I also have a Zombie deck at home. The Zombie was quite hit huge like a few lists before, but it could still compete, kind of. It was still like a very fun grindish deck. But also like decks like X-Savers and Gravekeepers are there, and those are amazing actually. It's like really fun to play those again. X-Saber a bit of a combo-ish deck, like 2011 combo-ish, which is pretty much like really different from today's combos. But I
feel you for sure.
It's a really
traveling back in time.
Yeah. So nostalgic with Ultimate Rare Stratus. That isn't really a nostalgic card, but it's pretty.
Yeah, absolutely. I surely will enjoy another round of that with you.
Yeah, that will be nice. We can do that in Austria, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to that. So, our next segment actually is our Player of the Week. And our Player of the Week from last week was Paulo Gonçalves, who took down the UDS in Colombia.
After winning YCS Atlanta with his team Fala Galera.
After that, yeah. And I mean, he just won another YCS. So is there any way around calling him another Player of the Week for another week?
No, he's not only the first Yu-Gi-Oh player to win 3 major events in 3 weeks, but he's also the first one to be Player of the Week in the YPFL Talk twice in a row. So
you can decide on your own which is worth more, man.
I think
there are discussions going on about that.
Yeah, it's a hot topic right now.
Definitely. The talks in Zodiac are just they're clearing up with discussions, and nobody really is sure yet. But he has earned that title, and he played Sky Striker all the way through, very, very interestingly. And because we talked about him last week, I would say it makes more sense to talk about Carl's week a little more in depth. And we decided on there can be only one, or there can be only Juan, as you like to call it, to be our card of the week. And that seems to be like the best tech card for pure Sky Striker right now. What do you think about it? What's your point?
I really enjoy playing the card because you always feel really secure having it. That's true. It's insane going first and second versus Salamangreat because it doesn't affect you that much. And if it would affect you, you can still send it away because you don't struggle with your own floodgates as you do with like opponents' floodgates. You can always use multi-roll or area 0 for a clean remove of that, so you can play on your own turn. It's also decent if you're playing versus Sky Striker. If you can start, then you can lock them into being on Hayate for a turn. If they can't out it, that hurts them a lot.
That's always the time when you actually flip the second and be only one, right? When he's going to battle phase with Hayate, declaring attack, and then you let him put the engage into the graveyard, and afterwards you're like, sorry man, there can be only one, and then he's pretty much screwed for that turn.
But you gotta wait for the attack because otherwise he will crash into your monster if he can, and then summon Ray back to activate the effect. So I mean it's terrible if you're going second versus Sky Striker most of the time because they will have the resources to like play around just random standby flip. There can only be one. I mean, unless you have Eagle Booster. I mean, the card can still work, right? If you have Eagle Booster, then your opponent can't afterburn a Euro monster to pop it. You just have to wait with the Eagle Booster as long as your opponent hasn't used his out yet. I mean, if he has Mystical Space Typhoon, then so be it. But it can still stall your opponent out for one turn. That is true.
Yeah. And a very Adrian Dursun, our winner of the German Open on weekend, he did actually main deck his card 3 times, so he really felt secure about playing it. And he also, I think you probably watched his deck profile as well, and also you're like talking a lot of strategy with him because you're in the same team as him. And he was like, I wanted to have a very strong main deck versus Salamangreat, and this card obviously helps a lot to that because, as you said, it's very, very good going first, and it's also still very good going second.
Yeah, and his sideboard is unfair versus Striker.
Exactly, yeah. That was like his plan. He's just siding very hard versus Striker then because his main deck is very good against Salamangreat already. So he can afford to not put that much hate against that in the sideboard, like putting Fusion of Fire plus Chimera into the sideboard or something. I mean, that does not really make sense for a Striker anyway, but like...
No, I just wanted to say that.
Like any form of hate versus Salamangreat was not really needed. Like cherries or something on the Chimera, like whatever. But he felt safe enough with that. And also he main deck triple Pankratops. Seems to be a good candidate too. And I was like also very surprised. He actually cut out the Foolish Brewery Goods Metalful Fusion engine. What do you think about that?
Yeah, we obviously talked a lot of strategy before, and I told him that I really don't like that. I mean, it speaks for him as he played it brilliantly. I mean, you and I have seen the featured matches. Obviously, that was like really good Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, and also every single one of you should rewatch them on YouTube if you haven't seen them yet. They're up on YouTube.
Obviously, but let's get back to the deck list. I really am not a fan of Pankratops in the main deck because I would have completely agreed on the deck list if Pankratops was substituted by Foolish Burial Goods, and then the summon limit would make space for Pankratops again, because Foolish Burial Goods is also insane versus Salamangreat because you always want to get to your first 3 spell cards in the graveyard because this is how you beat the deck.
Yeah.
You can also just go into Hita then with Anchor Take. It's like really good. And it does maybe a little bit more than Pankratops. I mean, getting to your 3 spells is so important. It also can get you a draw. And it makes this Skyscraper matchup, I think, better. Also, I don't think that you need 6 floodgates necessarily. Seems a bit wild, to be honest. But yeah, playing through boards isn't necessarily harder if you have Foolish Burial Goods instead of Pankratops. I think it's actually easier, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, his results speak for him.
Definitely, yeah, you cannot argue on that. Like 6 floodgates, I mean, that definitely secures that you're going to draw into them at some point. But as we said, like a single that can be only 1 can be so grueling for Salamangreat, and usually it will be over if you flip it on them. So I kind of agree on this.
I mean, you played his deck list today at locals. What was your experience?
Like, just I played all the floodgates as well, and I played Pankratops main, and it did go kind of well. I just played the locals today, and I drew once and I won the rest, so I actually ended up winning the locals, like nothing big, but still felt nice. And like the Pankratops, I didn't really draw a lot into them, but I mean, if you're drawing them going first, it's like not that great, obviously. So you would obviously have like the Foolish Brewery Goods more. You would love it to draw that instead of a Pankratops going first. But like on the other hand, I didn't brick a single time actually. So I always had access to Ray at least. I did not have like access to Engage like a lot, but still I was good, you know. You know, when you like have Ray and can go into Shizuku and search for Engage in the end phase, you're usually fine. You can still win a lot of games by that. And you don't really need to have it all. And like also the thing I was wondering is he did not play Upstart Goblin. Do you have a reason for that?
I think like timeout. No, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a decent card to side out.
Seems the most reasonable, yeah. I don't want to lose in timeout, so I don't play Upstart Goblin. I mean, it kind of makes sense for sure. But my experience with playing the deck again was just like I had a headache after 4 rounds because it is so much syncing and it's so intense to play the deck. It's really, that's what you have with Sky Strikers for sure, especially playing the mirror match.
Play this deck like a lot until your head stops hurting from playing it.
Yeah, right, absolutely. But it's still fun for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, our next segment is a news time, and we don't have a lot of news, but we have like I think 2 news. So the first one is that we saw some pull ratios for the upcoming product Dual Power, Dupo. And yeah, do you mind telling us a little bit about the ratios we saw there?
Yeah, Konami is back at it again, I think.
Sounds like it, yeah.
The most anticipated cards obviously are Ghost Bell, Evenly Matched, and Impermanence because they didn't have like big reprints.
Yep.
Yeah, they are all like really short printed, and Impermanence it feels like Ash Blossom when she got her first reprint. It's like 30 euros again, and this doesn't really. I mean, it also doesn't make the duelist power or whatever it's called. It doesn't make it attractive, right? Because there's like one card that pays out your entire box, and the rest is basically bad because like you can pull Ghost Bell, which is also like 10 euros, but the rest just doesn't pay off if you don't draw into Ghost Bell evenly as well. Or Permanence, then you probably negged.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like the other hand traps, for example, Ghost Ogre and also like Link Kuribo and stuff, they seem kind of cheap for now. Because when did we have a Ghost Ogre being €2 for the last time? Like every single time Ghost Ogre was introduced, it actually was higher than that.
Except for the time when the collection tins came out and the card was immediately like €2, and now look at it. I mean, right now it's still at €4 again, but I think that the price will just go up again.
Yeah, I do agree. But it's like kind of an interesting product because obviously there are a lot of cards you want to have as a player.
Yeah.
But still, like opening the product, as you said, is not really, really worth it because they're short printed a lot.
Yeah, but I'm still thankful to like have this thing released because it's like so many amazing cards that you just want to have in your card pool that are easy to now.
Definitely. And like one other point for the new section is that tournament pack number 1 for Speed Duel actually was announced. And I was like kind of having a laugh when reading that because the sentence from Konami was, how would you like it if you could just upgrade your common Relinquished into an ultra rare version of the card? And everybody was like, what was the original version of Relinquished? Like in the normal Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, it was ultra rare. So like, why do we need another ultra rare print? And why do we need to be happy about it in some way? Because the original version is just nicer.
It's really weird, honestly.
Yeah. But I mean, still, it's nice that they do promote it in some way, that they do something for the Speed Duel. Like I'm kind of curious on how that will develop, whether that will be really huge at some point. They already started to push it at YCS side events and stuff, or public events as it is called nowadays.
Yeah, there will be Worlds 2020.
Is that announced already, or what?
I think that was announced. I was told so, at least.
Wow, that's actually insane. Like I saw some it really like the death of Yu-Gi-Oh! Always is a theme, and they were like, it will probably be the way that we get some sets of that, and then for now we have public events at the YCSs, and there will be Speed Duel YCSs, and at some point they just say, okay, we don't need regular Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore, it is now Speed Duel Yu-Gi-Oh! Do you see that coming?
I don't really see that coming, honestly, because like I just don't think it's gonna happen. I have no reason for it. I don't think that the players will like completely swap from regular Yu-Gi-Oh! To Speed Duel because like we're kind of a loyal-ish fan base.
Yeah, me neither. It's just always these theories on when will the game die, how will they do it, and everything like that, right?
Yeah, it's always fun, but I don't see it happening in the next few years.
Yeah, these theories always have been around. But let's see what they do out of Speed Duel and how long it will be a thing and how good it will be. I'm actually looking forward to play, like, I don't have a Speed Duel deck yet, but I can see me building one just for the fun and on the side. But I will probably be more loyal to the normal game as well. So,
Sphere Kuribo, honestly, the card will be expensive soon. Oh, it already raised in price. I should have bought some.
You should have. Yeah, we already are like half an hour through with our podcast. So I think it is time to introduce our guest for the day.
Yeah.
And as we said before, our guest for today is Erkin Aydin, the founder and I think owner of Eman Games. So hello, Erkin. I hope he hears us and is joining us now.
Yeah, Erkin, if you didn't unmute yourself, you should do that first before you talk.
Perfect.
Ah.
I didn't figure it out Skype yet, so a little bit difficult.
All good, all good.
Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you for me being here.
All right. So we are having a few questions for you about, obviously, you being owner of a big team, probably the best performing team in the world right now.
Yes, and hopefully in the future.
Yeah. So I think Basti should ask those questions because I honestly didn't write them down.
Yeah, I would say let's just start with an introduction first. Like, tell the people how they should know you and like how old are you, what you're doing. Like, for somebody that does not know you at all, just say something about yourself.
Okay, so I'm 24 years old. I'm from Marburg in Germany. I studied politics and I worked as a paramedic before I started Yu-Gi-Oh!
Mm-hmm.
And yes, and I like shisha a lot, and that's all you have to know about me.
That's already quite nice. Like, probably some people didn't know that you actually studied politics. Like, didn't know that yet as well.
Yeah, and it's also not that important.
Not that important to Yu-Gi-Oh! Probably, yeah. You actually are a Yu-Gi-Oh! Vendor in full time now, obviously, and yes. Like you really did that. You did that really fast. Like, it seems like you were from zero to being a really big vendor in about 2 years, I would say. Or what do you think? How long did it take you?
I guess it was 2.5 years.
2.5 years, yeah. And what made you take that decision? Like, why did you decide to go for a full-time vendor and to be a Yu-Gi-Oh! Vendor?
It's pretty easy. To work as a paramedic sucked.
Okay.
Studying politics, yeah, I finished politics, but it's like if you studied politics, you still have like nothing. So
okay, it's kind of hard to find a job in that field, right?
Yeah, you can find a job, but you can't find a job with a good amount of money.
Okay.
So we started vending with Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and my partner Jennifer, she was also helping me with vending, and we were quite successful. So we decided to make it full time, and after that, Type joined us, and we went pretty big.
Yeah, that's like kind of always is a thing in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community, because trading and vending and all that stuff is like very popular in Yu-Gi-Oh! And like basically every Yu-Gi-Oh! Player does that, like trading at least and vending as well. Maybe if it's just your friends or something. But it really is a thing and kind of a dream of a lot of players, I would say, right? Like, a lot of people are just, maybe I will be like a big vendor at some point, and you just did it, and you did it so fast.
Yes.
And like,
that's true.
And for how long have you been a power seller now on Card Market?
For like 1 year.
That's pretty impressive. Like, very, very fast and very, very cool. And yeah, Leo, what do you think? Should we just do some quick spells now after that?
Yeah, I already teased you, Erkin.
Explain me the rules again, please.
Okay, of course I will. So we are giving you 1.5 minutes to answer as many questions as you can.
Okay.
They are about Yu-Gi-Oh! If you can answer them quickly, do so. If you don't know the answer, then just say skip and I will ask something differently.
Okay, can I say next?
Yeah, just say next then.
Former TV shows, yeah.
Okay, all right. Let me just figure out where my questions are.
That would be good.
I hope that I have enough. Otherwise,
what's the record at the moment?
Pardon?
What's the record at the moment?
The record is Lukas Windel and Jonas Koschel both have 9 correct answers.
Okay.
So Team E-Man being at the top right now.
I'm not surprised to see team members of us.
That's ballsy. Okay, so let's just dive into it. Bastian, can you count us in?
Absolutely, yeah. You have 90 seconds and I will count you from 3 to 0. So are you ready, Erkin?
I'm ready.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, go.
How many of your players won major events?
Next.
Attack points of Dark Armed Dragon.
2,800.
Name one fire archetype.
One fire archetype. Settlement grade.
Name 3 warrior monsters.
Warrior monster. Ray. Deneb. And what's the name of the other one? Vega.
Name one Cyber Dragon trap card.
Cyber Dragon Network.
Which deck won the Grand Open in Cologne, the German Open?
The German Sky Tracker.
How many tops does Erkin Aydin have?
1.
Which deck won? I meant major tops.
Okay.
Which deck won YCS Milan?
YCS Milan. It was. I know it. Prank It.
Name a level 2 light monster.
Next.
Name 2 female Yu-Gi-Oh players.
Zoe Weber. Jennifer Albrecht.
What is Kaiba's ace card?
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
And that's it, guys. Time is up. And I would
Was close. I just had one more question. That was really close.
That was planned perfectly by you, Leo.
Yeah.
So is Cyber Dragon Network a trap? Is that correct? I think it is, right?
Probably.
Leo? Probably. I think so, yeah. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 correct answers.
Oof.
That wasn't all too bad.
Yeah.
Definitely not. We had other people doing much worse in this game than you, Erkin. That was a good job.
But I guess I had the hardest questions.
Definitely, yeah. And you had to smoke your shisha on the side, as I can hear.
Yes.
So you had to take your time for that.
I had a handicap, so it's. I played the game on advanced, so.
Yeah, definitely. Next level.
Yes.
So obviously, being a vendor is like one part of your life, but also the other very big thing for you is that you're obviously the owner and founder of E-Man Games. And so we want to talk about that as well. So why did you decide to found a team in general? What was your intention there?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It was YCS Bochum. I guess it was last year, YCS Bochum in February. And Typhoon was 3rd place. So I talked with him and I asked him why you don't join any big team. And he explained me the problems of all the other teams. So we decided to just make our own team and to make it better than the others.
Yeah, and maybe can you tell us what are like the problems? What did you figure out which is not so good about other teams and which could be improved?
Yeah, that's a big question. First of all, the thing we didn't like was that there was only just one big team, and it was CCG for like many years. I don't know for how many years, but for many years. And that's something we didn't like. And like United Gozos was just staying at the same place. They didn't grow. They didn't do anything, and it's something we didn't like. We wanted to see competition, and every time one good player switched the team, it was like 100% clear to which team he's joining. So we wanted to bring some more action to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you did that, in fact. And really nice to hear these insights. That's pretty interesting. And did you originally plan to make it as big as you did it now? Because you said you want to compete with CCG, so that was already a big target. But could you see it becoming that big?
Oh, yeah, of course. It was 100% clear for us. If we start something like this, we want to be the best for like many years, hopefully forever. And yes, it was for us. It was very clear that we just can't make hard things.
Yeah, makes sense. And so I think Typhoon actually was helping you a lot with that because he was like with you from the start with that.
Of course, Typhoon helped me a lot. Thank you to Typhoon. Jenny helped me a lot. Yes. These are like who have the most.
Yeah, that's cool. And are there any specific benefits for you personally or for you as a vendor to be like the owner of such a big team?
Yeah, sure. Every time someone wins a prize card, I can get it first. Or if they have playmats I need, I get it. Also, it's not just like for the money aspect. It's more like I wished for a team and I got a family. That's something.
Aww.
That was very well said. Yeah.
But yeah, it's very lovely. So I'm 100%. I'm 100% happy with this decision in the past, and I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, yes. I think it's pretty cool for the people to hear that insight, and because you're right now, I think it's fair to say that you're at least one of the biggest two teams in Europe, if not the biggest, and maybe all over the world, because we said it before. Paulo Gonçalves obviously is a member of Team E-Man Games as well, right?
Yeah, sure. From yeah, ask me.
When did you have like your first international player?
The first international player was Darren, I guess.
It was like from out of Europe, I mean.
Out of Europe, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like in May last year, I guess. The first was Paulo, if I'm right. Yeah, it was Paulo. And after that, Brian joined. So the first international player outside of Europe was Paulo. Yeah, it was May or April last year.
Yeah, and to explain it a little more, when you're getting a new player, is it like you contacting a player you want, or are people applying to get into Team E-Man Games?
Both. We have many players we are scouting, so we are looking at them. We are looking how they are doing at events. We are looking how their character is. We are looking how they are connected with our players, and if they just match into our team from the character aspect. But also, if people apply, we also check them, we talk about it, and then we decide. Yeah. But most of the time, we are contacting the players.
Seems like a very well-run scouting thing for like a football club or something. Seems like
I'm a
lot
big
similar to that.
Yeah, right. Because I'm a big football fan, we just do it like them.
And in the community, they were comparing it to that as well. Like Paris Saint-Germain is coming in and rumble now.
I don't want to hear that. I'm a Manchester City fan, so.
Oh, you're a Manchester City, of course.
It's better.
Of course, they're just better than Paris Saint-Germain.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they have a good chance of winning this year's Champions League.
Yeah, we
I'm
can
with you on that.
In the end of the season.
For sure. So, Leo, do you think we should just go into counter traps now?
Okay.
Yeah, of course. So I will briefly explain you our next game.
Okay.
So counter traps are, of course, spell speed 3. So because we are too slow, we can't this explanation is so cringe. Anyways, we're asking you questions. Mm-hmm. You can answer them. You can also not answer them if you don't want to. Mm-hmm. And we won't respond to that.
You will respond.
We won't respond. We can't respond because it's a counter trap and we can't respond to that.
Okay, so you ask me questions and I can answer if I want, and if I don't want, I don't answer.
Yeah, right. And we can't put a statement to any of that. It's just like you can say whatever you want and that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so very easy. Just answer the questions and I will go down every single one of them, and we have 10 questions in total.
Okay.
So question number 1. Since when do you personally play Yu-Gi-Oh?
I started 2012, but I had a break for like 3 years, and then 2015 I started again.
Okay, number 2. What is the highest amount of money somebody paid you for a single Yu-Gi-Oh article?
For a single Yu-Gi-Oh article, I guess it was $3,500.
And what was that?
I thought you won't respond.
That's just our next question, actually.
Okay. It was the prize card, the ultra rare prize card from the season.
Okay, cool. So next question: what is better, Istanbul or Marburg?
Marburg.
Next question. Some people say you make more money by sports betting than by Yu-Gi-Oh. Is that any true?
Difficult to say. I'm losing a lot of money, so I will say yes, but all the other ones who are looking at my bets will say, of course, no.
Okay. Next question. Which current member of Team E-Man Games was the hardest to get?
Hardest to get. Let me think. It was
not Jonas Poschel. I know that.
It was Jan Oliver, for sure. It was Jan Oliver, yeah. Because he's very unsympathetic.
Okay.
We hear that.
What is easier to handle, a Yu-Gi-Oh store or being the owner of a Yu-Gi-Oh team?
Again, please, the question?
Yeah, what is easier to handle, a Yu-Gi-Oh store or being the owner of a Yu-Gi-Oh team?
The owner of a Yu-Gi-Oh team, for sure.
Okay. Do you have any plans on topping a YCS in the future?
At every YCS I have to plan to top, but the plan stops usually like after round 3 or after round 4, so difficult.
Okay. What is your favorite YCS location?
Bochum. It's Bochum.
Okay. Which player is the most active in your team's WhatsApp groups?
The team's WhatsApp group. I'm shitposting a lot, but I guess the most active is Brian Reyes.
Oh, interesting.
Or Typhoon, one of those.
Okay. And our last question actually is, do you have any shout-outs?
Sure, to the whole team, to my girlfriend, to all my friends. Yes, that's all.
Perfect. So I think that was very, very lovely. I think we got some nice little insight into the head of the owner of Team E-Man Games, and also like running a store, a Yu-Gi-Oh store, how that is like. And yeah, thank you, Erkin, for that. Definitely.
No problem. You're welcome.
So, Leo, I think sadly we will not have the Ultimate God Cup this week, right?
Yeah, that's right. I think Team Urea Gaming, was it, disbanded lately.
Sadly.
So, Erkin, you might go on the hunt for some Spanish players because this team is gone.
Maybe yes. Maybe in the future.
Yeah, do you have any Spanish players yet?
Sorry?
Do you have any Spanish players yet?
No.
So that's the thing to do.
Maybe we will get one in the future.
Sounds like a plan. Maybe you should invest into your scouting system in Spain more.
Yeah, you can message our email, and for the new email newsletter, there we can get you some information about players, about new members and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. So definitely do that, guys.
It's a joke.
I think the name is not Urea, but Euphoria Card Gaming, because they have EU4 RIA. I didn't ever realize that.
Me neither, never.
It's Euphoria. It makes much more sense.
Definitely. Yeah, so I think we should wrap it up right here. We had nice little 50 minutes. Seems about right. So everybody can rehear that on Twitch and on YouTube as always. So make sure to tell your friends about it if you stayed that long for now, so everybody can check it out too. And again, thank you to Erkin. It was really, really nice with